But without further ado, I am Pato. I'm in here casting, and live from British Columbia right now is Highwind. Highwind, how is it up there? I'm sure it's beautiful. I'm sure it's awesome.
Oh my goodness, it is gorgeous. I am on Galliano Island. I am in BC. I'm going to be in Victoria this coming Saturday. It is gorgeous day. I played 9 holes of golf, not 18 because it's only a 9-hole golf course. I went swimming in the ocean earlier. I got dunked by the ocean earlier when I went kayaking. And you know what? Who cares? Because we are going right into this game. We're going to go into Champ Select. But yes, I am in BC. You guys freaking rock. Uh,
Yes, and as I've
you
titled
guys.
it, this is the battle for Canada, as I put it. We have a lot of really star-studded players, from that scene up there. Obviously, if you're looking for high elos, Grifal, Mad Thunder, Tubby, pretty up there as far as players go. But we also have some stellar players too that are kind of under the radar. Showing that elo isn't necessarily everything. Intimate Bedtime was actually picked up to replace Griffel's first pick overall. Tank that stuff, and Intimate Bedtime is only like a 1500 player, which I say only, which is gold, which is really actually a really high percentage of League of Legends players. But still, you don't have to be a 2K player to be an MVP caliber and make a difference for your team, and that is the beauty of Judgment. And we handpicked for you guys right here. All the games are going to be great, but this game right here, I expect really big things from. I saw a few of these teams practicing. I know Griffel's team was practicing. They were actually taking on, I believe it was J Master Sam's team, who was first pick overall, going against his friend Mochi Balls, and it was a really tight, close game. Griffel's team ended up winning, so we could see some really cool stuff from them and J Master Sam's team later on in this tournament. But right off, Highwind, anything weird coming out of these bands that you see here?
Well, first off, not even looking at the bands. This is the new champion was released today. I'm going to be excited to see some Zera. She looks pretty potent. I got a chance to play one Proving Grounds, but I didn't get a chance to play with her. But I had her on my team. She's got a lot of good burst, a lot of good CC with the slows, and then her ult, which is like Tide Hunter. If anybody's played Dota, so oh man, Grifal is going to get Aurelia. Who's ever going top is in a lot of trouble. But yeah, so I'm really interested to see if we're going to see some Zyra in play. Someone might take her mid. Looks like she's got pretty strong matchups. She's a little bit safe. I don't know, how strong she is overall yet because she's just coming out of the box. But I saw her crush an Orianna. I actually watched a Riot Dissonance play Zera today in ranked and just absolutely crush and murder an Orianna. Went triple gold per 10 into Rabadons, or sorry, triple gold per 10 into Rylai's, and it was just snowballed from there. So we'll see. But looking at these bans, they all look pretty standard. They got a lot of the tanky junglers out of the way. The Malphites, the Alistars. Shen, somewhat a tanky jungle. Lee Sin, a lot of mobility. Nocturne, major strength is the ability to initiate. So, a lot of junglers off the board. And Twisted Fate, I think that just could be a targeted ban, maybe. I'm not 100% certain on that, but Twisted Fate does have that mobility to get out of lane easily, quickly for ganks. So boom, off the board. First pick though was Nautilus. He is tanky. He can jungle. He's got great CC. I think it's a great first pick. I'm feeling sorry for whoever has to go top against Grifal because Grifal mains Aurelia. And I've spectated a lot of these players' games. Grifal, Mad Thunder. I'm actually looking to see what Tubby. I don't know what Tubby is going to end up playing. I don't know if he picked Nautilus to swap or not because I believe XTY is probably going to jungle. So, I'm really excited to see where Tubby's going to go because he is a top player. He's a captain. He sounded like he had a great idea. These teams are practicing. I'm rattling. So, what do you think? Pato, what do you got going for us?
I think this is actually going to be a really cool game. I'm, obviously looking at this, we think that Aurelia is going to go top, which means we're probably going to see an Olaf jungle, which you don't typically see in a lot of games. Although I do think it's actually pretty good. What I've seen from a lot of players, Nintendo X has actually played Olaf a lot in the jungle and had some good success with it. We've seen a lot of Ezreal, of course. Recently, everybody loves to play him after that skin come out, but he's actually a really good aggressive poke champion. For a lot of teams, and has almost kind of that MF ability to farm with his ult, but he can still actually be a little bit more useful when you get later into the game versus MF. And XTY, I'm really excited to see where they do put him. We could see him in the jungle. We have seen him play Nautilus before. We could see him play support, which one of his goals was, to be a support MVP. And I know we were fighting for him in the one judgment he did win, but he's pretty much like a really low EO unranked player, but he plays really solid. It's been a lot of finals for Judgment, so I'm interested to see what we get out of him, if he will continue on this. And it looks like an Orianna pickup possibly, and a Rumble pick, which that
will love.
Yeah, I mean, there's no secret. I love my Rumble. I love Rumble in general. I love anybody that plays Rumble. If you play Rumble, we can be friends.
So Rumble's getting nerfed.
Yes, you know what? Ironically.
Good. Fuck Rumble. I mean, sorry.
whoa.
Sorry,
Okay, so
dropping that bombs.
the story about
apologize.
Rumble, in case anybody hasn't caught up, is so when he would turn with his flamethrower, a lot of times it would drop the animation in the AoE, so you actually wouldn't hit people. If like if Rumble would flamethrower and you literally tried to run a circle around him, like he wouldn't hit you with his flamethrower. So what Riot did was like, they're okay, we're gonna fix this, and they go. All right, apparently my mic is quiet. I might have to turn that up a little bit. I can do
Or
that real
I'm
quickly.
too loud. It could be one of the other. They're just like, gosh, the high wind is so loud. He's blowing my eardrums.
But anyways, Rumble, like he when he turned, he actually would drop, hits and stuff like that. So, what they did is like, Riot's like, okay, we'll fix this. We'll make it so it hits all the time. But unfortunately, then what they did is if you Rumble and you spin around in circles, you hit everybody around you. And then Freak even, I think he made the post that was like, if you take the total damage over time and the AP ratio, it's basically like Crow Storm from Fiddlesticks, except for it's a 6-second cooldown normal ability, which is a little bit too strong. A little bit too strong. I have to admit.
Just no cost. Just boom, just throwing it out there. Hey, whatever, Crow Storm. But yeah, I think Freak made that post and pointed it out, and I'm just like, yes, you're right, Freak.
Well, I think another frustrating thing is like, even forget the flamethrower, because they're going to tone down the flamethrower. I don't know if they're going to look at anything else, but like his ult, like it's a ridiculous range line nuke that slows and does crazy damage over time. And it's on like a 60-second cooldown. Like there's so many things about Rumble that like and have his free spells. And the best part about that Freaks post too was that like it didn't even count in the fact that the overheat exists, which allows you to actually deal more damage when you're in the danger zone, like cue Tom Cruise music or whatever. But I mean. Like seriously, it's he's a character that does need a look at. When they released,
tone down just a little bit. I don't think he's overpowered because he does have some bad matchups. I just think that he is scary, and there are a lot of times, and people have showed us time and time again that he can snowball, he can get out of control, and he has a lot of solid matchups too. So I think whatever nerfs they come in, hopefully they're not going to over nerf him, because as much as I might drop the F-bomb and say that Rumble, because I've been on the opposite end of that Rumble. I'm like, ooh, what? You can slow me?
Yeah, well,
you can ult me from a million miles away. My life is gone. What is going on?
The main thing about Rumble too is like he snowballs so hard. Like he's one of those champions that's like, if you get like that first kill on top lane, he snowballs harder than anyone, to the point where a lot of times when I've been playing, it's like if I get that first kill, I can actually literally just like shield up and dive my opponent a lot of times and just 100 to 0 them really, really quickly. And no one expects that, especially like at lower levels and such like that. So they'll probably take a look at him. He'll probably get toned down a little bit. He has the highest winning rating of any champion in ranked right now. So obviously Riot's probably going to take a look at him. But let's get past that. Looks like Mad Thunder is going to be playing Nautilus. Tubby's going to be playing AD bottom, so he's going to be trying to carry for his team, which is a really good strategy there.
Is that a support Orianna?
It looks,
no, it can't be. She has Ignite.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be mid Orianna, top Rumble, and Rumble's actually going to be going against Grifal, which will be pretty interesting because if Mad Thunder knows Grifal, and if he can actually get a gank off, Rumble is good to the point, like we said, he snowballs so hard that he actually has a really good chance of actually taking Grifal out of the game if they can get an early gank off him and get Rumble start the wheels of war to get Rumble fed, and then he'll just basically trample Grifal in that top lane. If he gets a chance. Although Grifal, obviously very, very good Aurelia player, is going to be aware of this. He's probably going to be pretty cautious. He's going to look out for that to happen. But in the meantime, we're going to run a KDA contest on our Facebook. So if you're watching right now and you want to win yourself a pack silver skin, hop on over to our Facebook. I'm going to make a post right now. We're going to go with, I believe, let's go with Grifal. You said he mains Aurelia top. We're going to go with Grifal. Guess his KDA and his CS. You want to get his KDA and his CS, and put your post there. After a couple of minutes, we'll cut it off. About 5 minutes in the game, maybe. But just go over there, put down your guess, and closest one will win a pack silver skin.
Woo! And don't forget, guys, not only are we giving away pack silver skins, but later on we are giving away tokens or future entries into future judgments. So if you're having issues trying to get into judgments, winning our contest is a great way to get yourself set up to get as entered into our future judgments. You don't even need to sign up. You don't even have to sit around and press F5, at 6 o'clock and wait for that password. But yeah, go ahead and do that. Also, as we're loading into the game, I want to let you guys know we're streaming on 3 other channels. I believe the other one is twitch.tv, RYW Media 2. We might be using RYW Media 3. I think we've got Shiner. We've got The Help from AOD. They're casting. We've got several other great BC casters or people that we've met that are like, hey, we want to cast. Well, now's your chance. Jump in and join us. So we're going to get those links posted in the channel. Big shout out to our substitute admin, Dope Ants. I know he's in chat channel. He's rocking it for us right now because the great, lovely Hey Kelso is in New York City. Doing work for Google right now. So, and by the way, I think she got a new job. So, congratulations to the Hey Kelso on air.
After Google sends her on an all expenses paid vacation to New York, she gets to get a new job as well and go on, which is kind of a cool deal. I know for her, but she is a little bit homesick already, but she has a lot of fun stuff to do. She has a lot of friends from Jersey, believe it or not. So hopefully she doesn't come back tan and all Guidoed up, because that would be unfortunate. But yeah,
homesick or pedo sick, I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like Steve Y. He's trying to kick his hamster right now, trying to pull out those paddles, zap it a little bit, bring it back to life so it'll start running and fuel his computer. He's had a few little issues with his graphics card recently, so hopefully that doesn't factor in there. But I'm really excited to see his Orianna because, like you were saying earlier, is like you were wondering if it was a support Orianna because, again, we thought maybe jungle, maybe support, but XTVY apparently going to be rocking that AP mid, going to be taking on Genosuke probably right here, and I'm interested to see which one comes out on top.
Yeah, I think both teams are set up pretty great. I'm not the biggest fan of Olaf, either in the jungle or in top lane. I think he's a champion that falls off kind of late. He kind of runs at you and he makes he says, on paper, Olaf is a great character, a champion on paper. You look at him, you're like, wow, his kit seems pretty strong. He's got sustain. He's got a slow that has a shorter cooldown. He's got a true damage nuke. He's got ability to remove CC. He's got ability to be immune to CC. Like on paper, you're like, wow, this is what I really want from a champion. And then you play with him, and you're just like, he kind of falls off. His ult doesn't last as long. But anyways, it could be the player, right? It could be, maybe some players just become attuned to some champions that are better. They make champions better than they really are, or could be, or really show us our potential. So I'm definitely going to be looking forward to that. I'm really but if you take a look at the Grifal team here, Kennen has mobility, AOE CC. You got Ezreal mobility with the ability to gap close or use it as to get away. He's got the range. He's got the global ult, for presence. Grifal playing Aurelia. She has a lot of good CC reduction, and you've got our all-time favorite support champion, Janna.
Always be Janna. Makes everybody mobile, and then has a million ways to make you escape or lock you down if you're trying to run away. So we see a quick little invade here coming in from the red team. They're going to invade that red buff. They want to take away a little bit from Nautilus's jungle, and I'm interested, if Tubby's team actually plays this a little bit too passively, or if they were really unfortunate, actually stumble upon the red team here in the jungle, they could be in a little bit of trouble. And looks like they've actually taken a defensive stance here pretty much. If red was doing the loop around behind, it could have been really, really good if they timed it correctly. I'm interested to see how long they stay here if they do check that this red buff is going down. I'm wondering when red team is actually going to make a move. Aurelia's actually already gone top. So I think they might sense that something is up here because we can actually see Matt Thunder's kind of looking. He's checking. I think they know that something is going to go down here. And it looks like Matt Thunder's actually going to start red.
Oh, I love this. I love the start. Is he going to start red? Safe. Yeah. But, oh no, the jig. The jig is about to be up.
Uh-oh. It's going to be Soraka first. Flipping a lot of trouble. He's ignited. That will be first blood for Kennen. And red team will actually just back off out of this and be like, all right, that's good enough. We got the first blood. Mad Thunder's definitely not going to want to stick around here too long and go for it. They don't have any wards. They actually did pick off the support, so they couldn't even drop a ward in that instance.
I got to feel that Grifal just has insider information. He's got to be like, dude, he always does this. He's playing Nautilus. He learned from Highwind that this is the best match ever.
Yeah, so actually, so people that don't know, talk a little bit about, what is your thought process? I know you talked to me a lot about this in jungle paths. You do play jungle a lot, and your Nautilus jungle. So explain to people what exactly the thought process is with having a Nautilus start red on blue side.
Well, not that really any good strong level 3 ganker. Maokai's a really good good example. The idea being is first jungler with double buff to top lane and gank is going to help you snowball your top lane the best, right? I mean, when you're level 3 as a jungler and you have double buff and you can get the top lane in under 4 minutes, right around that 3 minute and 30-second mark, you're going to be extremely strong. That's why I like when Shaco, there's some trade going here up top. I don't think anybody's going to go too deep, but that's why when Shaco, when he could stack his boxes, take one buff, start the other buff, smite it, and then show up and lane it 2 minutes and 12 seconds, with double buff, that was obscene. That was preposterous. And that's why he got nerfed, and thank God. But that doesn't mean that you can't still work on that, and you can't take someone like a Maokai or a Nautilus, or even a Malphite, anybody with some sort of really good CC, where you can basically start like on blue side, start red, go take your blue buff with smite because you say smite, and then show up in top lane level 3 double buff.
Yeah, and as we were talking about earlier, Nautilus, we were saying that maybe maybe if Nautilus can go up there and get an early gank on Grifal, we can snowball that lane for Rumble. One thing I've actually learned playing Rumble against Aurelia is Aurelia actually has a pretty good time against Rumble, a little bit early. Rumble, for the most part, he can actually take on most people, especially when he hits 3 and he gets 1 point and everything. And you can really bully everybody around, but Aurelia, just kind of has a kit that can kind of deal with them in trades. So you actually want to wait a little bit before you go aggressive, which is what we saw from Blix early on as he went into trade with Aurelia, and then Aurelia came back at him with her combo and her true damage and actually won out the trade. So he's actually going to have to wait a little bit before he can go all in on Aurelia. And since they've delayed the gank from Mad Thunder finally going down there, just picking up his red, Grifal even came with a ward already in his setup in order to protect himself, as we saw him just place it down there. So, Grifal has these timings down really well. If Mad Thunder ran up there all the way right now, Grifal already has the ward. You typically wouldn't expect that from a top solo having a ward that early, and he'd be perfectly safe.
Yeah, that's ballsy, considering he went boots. Instead of going boots 3 pots, went boots 1 pot and a ward. And I like that setup. Now, you and I've duo queued a bot lately, and sometimes you end up in that support role, and one of the key things that you do is you take a 4 ward start in your support build, and you actually place that early ward, whether it's either in the river or that top tri-bush, or you guard our red. And I can tell you right now that ward has sometimes single-handedly won a game for us, and in our low elo adventures. So yeah. Definitely, it's really kind of the mechanics and the meta of understanding where a jungler may start, what they're going to look to do. Is a jungler going to have a strong level 2 gank? Is he going to level 2 gank? Is it like Shaco's, Lee Sin's, Nocturne maybe not so much. I think Nocturne's a great level 3 ganker, but where they can take that red buff and then immediately go gank a lane.
Yeah.
So by able to give that vision and give that understanding, because when you go to make a gank, you're actually committing resources. Those resources being that time it would take for you to go into lane and invest in ganking and where you could be in the jungle farming.
Gank here. Kennen coming in, popping is all going to stun Steve underneath turret and actually putting 9 on, but I think that might not finish off. It's just barely going to finish him off, but they'll actually trade in the process. Kennen really wanted that kill. Gojo, he's actually been making the rounds. We saw him in bottom a little bit, but Fluff actually
and
caught
Grifal
him
in a lot of trouble here. Mad Thunder getting the 1-up.
And that's exactly what they need to do. And since Rumble was involved, he's going to get that assist gold, and he's very, very low. That was one of those, tunnel vision moments where Grifal was like, hey, maybe I can pull this off and, get a kill. Rumble kept him there just long enough, ended up winning out with the help of Mad Thunder. And that's actually going to be really huge for their team going on forward, because this Rumble's going to be able to go back. He's probably can buy his, he's revolver straight up, has his wards, still has a bunch of pots now, and he's going to be sitting pretty going up against Grifal up top.
Yeah, and what actually, just another, Mad Thunder, who plays with Grifal a lot, recognized that there might be a ward in the river and came up through lane. That's pretty early, a 6-minute lane gank. Typically, junglers, they're going to realize that the top lane isn't going to be warded, so I can just come up through river. Well, in this situation, he recognized that Grifal didn't start with 3 pots, he only started with 1, had a ward in his inventory, and then came up through lane. And with the use of Rumble and be able to make that gank before Aurelia hit 6, it just really worked out in their favor, and that red buff helped out a lot.
Yeah, it definitely did, and this is kind of the fun mind games you get to see, like not only of players, at the high level, just how they think in general, but also players that know each other very well. And we're gonna have quite a bit of that because a lot of these players actually have played with each other. They've hung out with each other in real life, or played at LAN tournaments together. All these players are kind of BC area. Majority of them, the Vancouver, Richmond, Victoria area. So they've met each other at tournaments. They've met each other in real life. They've hung out. They know each other really, really well. So we can see some pretty quirky, cool things come out from a lot of these players. And that's what's really exciting about having this Judgment BC and having players that are all kind of from the same locality.
Ooh, and I really like what's going on here. Gojo Pew Pew is actually stealing the blue buff from Nautilus and/or Orianna.
And just in time, because Mad Thunder just showed up and he is pretty mad. But you know what that means? It's time for him to bring the thunder.
And that's great because, whoa!
Right,
But I mean, what he did by stealing that buff is he understood the timing. He understood that Nautilus was going to be late to that blue buff because Nautilus went to start red, realized that he couldn't get red, and had to then rotate the blue buff and didn't actually get a strong leash. So that was a delayed blue buff, and I know if I'm a jungler, I'm not expecting them to steal my blue buff because it didn't spawn or it didn't die immediately at 2:15. So, usually there's static timers if you get a start, if you get a strong leash or your standard opening. But this time it was delayed, and Gojo was just like ahead of the game, ahead of the curve. So this is something I like to see, getting that blue buff. But
Mad
Thunder
coming up with steal zone, and I can't. Gojo didn't even check it. Now he's gonna check it. There's gonna be a sad face. Here's the ready. 3, 2, 1. Sad face. There it is. He saw that actually Mad Thunder was coming up on him with that ward that's in the forward ward and river, as we can see right there, and he was like, I know he's there, and Mad Thunder actually recognized this too, and now we have a possible gank on here. Grifal's gonna be able to get out of this. I
don't know. They have a lot of CC they can throw out here. Plus the Rumble.
The standard dash. Oh no, she's done.
Oh, that is dirty.
I mean, it's really like that combo, because I haven't seen Nautilus played in a while. I haven't had the pleasure of when I'm playing Rumble Top to actually have a Nautilus in the game. But if someone gets to hold you there for the flamethrower, it doesn't matter if it's fixed or not. You're gonna take the full damage, especially in overheat. You're gonna sit in his ult for way too long, and you can pretty much melt anybody. It doesn't matter who you are with that kind of combo. So that's a really scary lane. And like I said, if they can get that early kill on Grifal and snowball it, this is exactly what they need to do. Take out, kind of a superstar player, a key component for the red team, and that could spell victory for them.
Yeah, and what I was about to say before that gank actually went down was I hope that when Gojo realized that his red was just stolen, that he communicated, said, "Hey, my red is stolen. Be careful." Because if I had stolen that red, I probably would have came up through his tri-bush. Nautilus actually didn't even have to go through the tri-bush. He came up through, and he just came up through river. So yeah, it was just one thing to note. That I hopefully that some sort of communication might have gone down, or in the future.
Yeah, I can't actually remember back, but I don't know if Grifal's flash actually was up at that time or not. Obviously, it's up now. I have to believe it probably was.
No, it was probably down.
Yeah, because I was gonna say otherwise because I expected the dash flash combo and there was no flash unless it was just a really well timed route and he never got a chance to flash. But
unless he realized that Nautilus Rumble is OP and he just forfeited his life, whatever.
I accept my fate.
Save that flash.
But as you can see right here, he actually might get a kill. He's just barely going to get the kill with that last tick of the Ignite. Grifal coming back with vengeance, buying up.
And still has that flash. He's going to... Wow, so Rumble would have lost about 2 waves of creeps. But in this way, Null's here to clean up those creep waves.
Yeah, that is a key component always to look for whenever someone does die is, is their wave pushing? Are they going to lose creeps to the tower because the wave's pushing? And it can actually compound your death even worse than just, oh, I died in lane. It could be like, oh, I died in lane and I lost 2 waves of creeps and about like 12 CS or something like that.
And we're going to see the dragon, the first dragon attempt to be started right now. It's a little sketchy. We've got 4 members here from the red team. The blue team is collapsing.
Yeah, looks like Kennan's actually going to go onto XTY right now. Mad Thunder coming in, though, is going to help him out. Looks like Red has actually collapsed on the top side, which is the correct thing to do. XTY actually still alive, has popped his ult, is trying to trade with Genosuke. Actually flash over by Soraka, trying to protect him. Janna throwing it all out, trying to protect Rumble ult. The equalizer coming in, and that does not equalize anything. It throws everything in the blue team's favor. VM in a lot of trouble, probably going to fall as well. That's another double kill. Or that's a double kill for Rumble. That's 2 more kills. And now they're probably going to get Dragon, and that is really unfortunate for them. Red, they did the correct thing. Blue was kind of pincer moving, and they collapsed on one side. But, XTY did a good enough time, stalling, not taking a long time to die. Ezreal coming in there trying to steal the Dragon. But took long enough to not die that the rest of the team was able to collapse. And, they had their key players. Rumble rotated down. Mad Thunder came in. And, the rest was history. And they were in a specifically bad spot on the map to deal with Rumble. These ramps that are right there, especially the ramp coming from purple or red side, if you will, down to Dragon. You never want to be on those ramps if you fight a Rumble. Just because it just lends to his ult. He can lay his ult down there and he'll hit everybody trying to run through there, and it's a big, huge mess.
Even if you have your team that has like a cannon that's great for that AoE, CC, that AoE stun that he can bring to the team, you want to avoid concave areas on the map at all. At any time, you just want to avoid it. Specifically, like later on in the game, if maybe there's like some Baron baiting going down, like right where we see Olaf right now, they're going to want to avoid areas like that at anywhere where Rumble's ult can just do a ton of damage. And I really like what's going on here.
Yeah, I think XTY is in a little bit of trouble here. It looks like he will fall. Kennen actually missing a few of those early shurikens, and for people, any that's a Kennen player, you typically max your shuriken, and at which point you have to land your shurikens. Otherwise, you kind of lose a lot of your damage, and actually could have had a lot more pressure on XTY. A little bit earlier if he was kind of missing the point blank ones, which typically happens with skill shots. And Gray's Tubby getting really aggressive here on Intimate Bedtime. Intimate Bedtime, former MVP Exhaust right now, using that Ezreal mobility to try to get out of this. There's the ult come in, and a great flash just in the nick of time to prevent death. Tubby thought he had that. He was already sitting there popping the champagne. He was ready, and now it's just bittersweet, spilled all over his lap, and he's going to have to go back and, buy. It's okay. It's okay. He can go back, buy some more champagne.
Now, it looks like, just taking a quick look at CS, Grifal doing an amazing job here, 122 CS. Slightly behind Tubby, who's got 126 CS. Outside of that, the next person would be Ezreal with about 100 CS. And the rest of the people, the carries kind of, and the jungler sitting in there between that 60 and 70 CS range. Overall, the game is really even right now, even though blue team got Dragon and they have a kill in their favor. The red team's doing an impressive job staying ahead in farm, in lane. So right now, super close game, and I'm kind of interested to see how this is going to develop, especially when we get to see the next Dragon fight, and as we get closer to Baron being an objective.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. The red team definitely has kind of a mobility factor that they're going to have to use, and they're going to have to fight at the correct time. Looks like Kennen going to be caught out here a little bit, but XTY not going in on it at the same time. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication. But if I look at the blue team, like if red team decides to go all in, the blue team has, I feel like they have the better AoE response between Orianna's ult, the AoE of Graves, the AoE and just like the CC from Nautilus in there. And Rumble, obviously, it's like that's a really scary high damage AoE team that probably can outdo the red team. So red team, if they do engage, it's going to have to be the right time. They're probably going to want to look to pick off someone if they will. And the other thing, too, is if red team engages, the blue team does have that Soraka. They can silence key members of the enemy team, especially Kennen coming in possibly, or exhaust him. And then, besides that, she can just heal up a lot of the AoE damage that they might initially take from a Kennen type ult.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Olaf's build. It looks like it's pretty typical. He got the early Heart of Gold. He's probably going to take that Madrid's Razors and turn it into Rigos here pretty shortly. After that, he'll probably go into a Phage and or finish that with an Ice Mallet. Meanwhile, Nautilus is going to go his typical early 2 per gold for 10 items. Turn that, looks like he'll probably turn that chain vest either into a Randuin's Omen or a
Tubby just got played a little bit there by the Janna, but he's actually going to be able to escape with his life here, and VM's actually in a lot of trouble. That Janna was really good putting Tubby out of position, but now the rest of the red team is running for their lives. You can definitely see the presence of Nautilus. Mad Thunder's jungle has been going really well for him, and whenever you have a Nautilus that's had a jungle really going well for him, he's able to bully pretty much any lane he shows up in, and it's really being a contributing factor for the blue team having some success here in this game so far.
Yeah, and like if he turns that chain vest into a random Zoma or maybe a glacial shroud, which end up being a frozen heart. And I'm watching Rumble and Aurelia go trading one more time, and I think Rumble knows the jig is up, so he's going to try and bait Grifal here under this turret, but Grifal is going to come out on...
Equalizer tick, just not enough. He's going to escape barely with his life. That was really close. About 50 health, and it looks like a full-on dive from Mad Thunder, taking out Kennen underneath his turret. So that bully we were talking about doing a great job here. Looks like XDVY actually rotated up to possibly try to pick up Grifal. Grifal's going to hide underneath his turret. XDVY is not going to go for it. But great play from Grifal, actually able to pull off that kill, realize he could do it, and actually escape. He probably wasn't 100% sure he could get out with it, but he was pretty confident, was able to pull it off. That's a really high-level decision move that can be really risky and cost you. And it looks like definitely from the CS, how well Grifal's been doing with CS versus Rumble. Rumble, hasn't even broken 100 CS yet. The overall goal for Aurelia has actually jumped up quite a bit. Grifal's actually in a pretty commanding lead. So even though Rumble had some snowballing kills to try to get him going, he really actually hasn't been able to, really do it because, Aurelia's effectiveness to shutting him down a little bit early in his CS, and then just superior last hitting and dominating this last lane, this top lane.
One of the things I really like with the blue team's champion lineup is the Orianna Nautilus. And think about it. Nautilus throws out a hook, brings him right to you. Or, he can even start with his ultimate, throw out that death charge, it's going to attract them wherever he want, and then he can land that dredge line. Orianna's like, boom, I'm going to throw a shield on you, so now you got double bubble. And then once you've brought someone in, I'm just going to suck everybody into you. Like, it's just obscene, just the synergy there. It's kind of like the old, the Malphite Orianna combo. So, I think we'll see a lot of that here on either on Kennen or later on once we start to see this next Dragon skirmish that's going to go down, because Dragon is up. One of these teams are going to make a play for it. Maybe both teams will end up meeting just like last time, so we're going to see.
Yeah, a little bit of a trade going down at Intimate Bedtime, and Tubby, they just really want to go for this. Jan actually have to pull the last punch there to get Intimate Bedtime out of that. They were very close. They both exhausted each other. They both got heals, and the damage was pretty even. Then finally, Tubby was able to pull ahead there. It looks like Mad Thunder is starting that Dragon. They realize that they've actually gotten Ezreal low, and they've decided that maybe they could try to make a play here. Although there is a ward there, so Gojo is definitely going to hang around here, probably try to stop that out. Pink ward going down from Floof right there, so they can gain the vision advantage. And they're going to keep on this, so I'm interested to see what the red collapse is going to be on this Dragon right here. Jan just coming in there poking. Looks like Gojo Pew has popped his ult. Ragnarok coming in. Ezreal ult off. No one's going to take Dragon here. Gojo Pew is going to have to actually run out of this back off. It looks like Edge's going to be picked off. I think they're in a lot of trouble here. Genosuke is going to pop his ult, but it's not going to be enough. Gojo Pew coming back for that true damage, but wasn't really worth it. Now they've actually fed a triple kill to Tubby, which is absolutely not what they want. I feel like at this point, like I was saying, the team fight is definitely on the blue side's favor, and without having Grifal down there, I don't think that was quite the best engage or choice for them. A lot of times, I probably would have in that scenario realized that they are going to Dragon and getting some vision on them with Gojo. Just stay in your lane, push the lane, farm it a little bit because they're going to be occupied with Dragon, and then just feel free to back off. After that, and just take your farm while they're gone. Much like if someone was to leave lane and go try to gank another lane, you call it, you can decide to either follow them or you can push and just farm CS and push their tower. That probably would be the better option, knowing that, and sometimes teams don't know. Sometimes, they think that, hey, we could possibly win a team fight. Me looking at the two team comps, I definitely side with blue more in the dragon type fights, especially with Mad Thunder. You know, as far ahead as he is, he's not going to take a lot of damage from dragon. It's not early enough that the dragon's going to be a really contributing factor in the team fight. And even though Rumble wasn't there, definitely, obviously, we saw the advantage in team fight come through for the blue team.
Yeah, and you know what? I think the red team played it correctly. I think their problem was that they didn't engage with Kennen. Like, Kennen was an afterthought. Kennen showed up a little bit late, then used his ult. Had they timed everything they did, with Gojo going in, popping his ult, Ragnarok, so he could actually get in and start that fight, because they got Mad Thunder fairly low. The Ezreal ult did hit. Problem was they just didn't really have... uh-oh, VM in a lot of trouble. Probably going to go down here.
A triangle, and you are not coming out of that VM, I'm sorry.
But yeah, I feel like if they had been able to use Kennen a little more effectively and had Ezreal put in more damage, they would have had a pretty good shot. And the Grifal going to show up, make his presence known here to the blue team.
Yeah, he's going to feast on some XD Wide. Now he might get some Mad Thunder. They have 4 members here trying to chase him down. Mad Thunder might be able to escape here. He could use his hook possibly escape, but now he has some reinforcements, and we could see a serious fight go down here. Tubby's going to get off some good AoE damage right there, and there it is. Right off the bat, he's going to jump right onto Grifal, or Grifal's actually going to jump right onto Tubby, excuse me, and that's that Grifal presence they needed, because with him in the team fights, he's farmed enough that he can actually bully around Mad Thunder. In this case, they are going to do it. Grifal diving in there. They're going to pick up the kill. Ignite helping pick up there for Intimate Bedtime.
Uh-oh. Are we going to see the Rumble Quadra?
Uh-oh.
He's got Equalizer.
I don't know if he has quite enough. There's the slow in there. He's definitely going to pick up Genosuke. I think Grifal's actually going to be able to tear him down too quick, though. He's going to give up a double kill in the process. He just needs another heal or something to keep him going. I think if Soraka actually would have got there quicker and healed up Rumble a little bit more, we could have actually seen Rumble wipe that.
But, you know, he did turn a complete loss into, you know, a manageable loss. They did pick up 2 of those kills there. I think the double buffs ended on... Ooh, never mind. Grifal now double buff. For your enjoyment, Rumble, when you get back to lane.
So, you know, just to check in on our KDA contest that is going in on, you know, a lot of people probably were sad they saw the 0-2-0 start from Grifal, but now he's 4-2-2, almost 200 CS. We're about 25 minutes in the game, so... all you Grifal fans that might have been sad that your high guess, for him to come through and play really, really well in this game wasn't going to pan out. Looks like he's doing pretty good. It's going to be a huge factor in this game. And, that's why we kind of pick these players. We pick them because we expect them, to make plays for their team. And Grifal definitely is a key component to his team. If they are going to win this game, he's going to be a big factor.
Yeah, and the game actually really close. I mean, the disadvantage that we're seeing in gold right now, this gold deficit, is from the 2 dragons and the 4 kills. The kills they've actually brought back up from farm, and it's really just pretty much the dragons. Grifal's going to pick up this turret right here.
Some bait
really close
on Grifal's part right here. Will he be able to get through this? It looks like he is still going to pick up Blix and be able to get this pretty easily. I think Rumble thought, he's like, I'll come up here, we'll lay out ults again, it'll be a beautiful thing again. But Grifal, I mean, he's almost has his Triforce. After he goes back and buys up, which I'm sure he has enough money now, he can actually just go back, buy his Triforce, buy probably another item on top of that, and he's scary at this point. Wit's End, Triforce, Aurelia, 25 minutes in the game. Like, that's a scary thing. It's gonna be really hard for them to protect Tubby, because she can just go in at him. Gojo Pew Pew can go in with his Ragnarok. It's gonna be a tough proposition for blue team to actually try to protect Tubby.
And so I think what we're going to see, so there are 2 primary objectives where these teams are going to skirmish again. Then the one is the next dragon, which should be 2-ish or so minutes. And then Baron is always going to be that wild card, where if one team makes a major mistake, someone gets caught out of position and poorly, that they can make a play for Baron. And right now it looks like a lot of resources are being committed here to this bot lane. Where Dragon could be spawning soon. I think the play for mid turret would be strong as well. I think, with Orianna getting out of lane, Mad Thunder's going to stay here just to protect that turret. And I think...
pretty interesting, because both teams is actually set up here to have something happen and act on it. But
and I wonder if one team is just going to sniff it out. Like, this kind of like they're playing... They're chicken, right? Yeah. Like, all right, these train wreck is about to happen. We got trains gonna come at each other, and then it's just, is someone gonna pull away? Ooh, And Janoski trying to go up against Matt Thunder. Matt Thunder actually winning out on these exchanges. Extremely tanky, putting in some really good harass here. And
they actually do see Oriana, so red. That's the first site that says tells red team, all right, let's back off out of here. But they've had players missing for quite a while. Like Rumble's just been chilling. Now he's actually going to finally pick himself up some golems. But big stare down right there from both teams, trying to get something happening. Now Dragon is up. Blue is all there to collapse. It looks like Grifal, he doesn't have teleport. He can't get down there magically, so he's probably going to have to push top in response to this. And we'll see if Red actually does collapse on this. Ken's back in base. They actually can't collapse. So
right.
Goju Poo tries to push this a little bit. Dragon will go down, and Goju Poo is going to have to kind of do a little run in here.
So it looks like Grifal is going to put quite a bit of damage here. He's going to want to, if he can take this turret, he's going to want to take it, and he's going to want to get out. Because if he gets caught, he's going to be in a lot of trouble, because without Grifal, their team is significantly at a disadvantage, and they could lead to a free Baron. But it looks like he's got this, no problem.
Yeah, he should be safe.
Here. They know that they're all just doing blue buff, so he's going to get out, no problem. And I think this is where the red team starts thinking about what they want to do for Baron. They just know that if they can keep Grifal protected, Grifal can carry this game for them. They've got, it's the other way around. Typically you're like, oh, my hyper carry is Vayne, or my hyper carry is Kog'Maw, and I just got to peel for him. Well, it's a reverse situation where you got a hard to CC bruiser that does a ton of damage, can gap close, and actually take out your carries. I think that's what we're going to see here shortly. So I think Grifal will be rushing Guardian Angel. He's already taken that red buff here. He's got his Triforce. Once he's got Guardian Angel, these teams are going to start duking it out. And I think, Grifal is going to be a major factor. They're going to want to use Kennen to just really initiate fight, or even counter initiate. They're going to use Janna to just run away. If should we see any sort of primary aggression from Mad Thunder, where maybe you have an initiation from a Nautilus alt, you're probably not going to want to start with the Rumble's Equalizer, but again, that's what they're going to be looking for.
Yeah, I think the key in a lot of these team fights is going to be patience. When I look at a lot of AoE comps, there is the Shredder's Revelry from Soraka right there. It looks like they really wanted to possibly go in on the red team if they hung around there, but they weren't able to go there. Janna with a beautiful Howling Gale slowing their advance, and they were able to back off. VM actually was a big key component, support player to last week's Judgment with No Name Too Lazy, and he was actually picked up because of how well he played in that by Grifal. So definitely good pick up by them. And here is Grifal. Speaking of him, he's all over Tubby, just trying to put a lot of damage. Ken's actually going to ult. Mad Thunder's going to be caught out here. It's going to be 5v1. He's not going to be able to tank that, but he's wasting a lot of time. That dredge line wasn't designed for him to actually be able to escape out of that, but it did waste
and
a lot
here
of time
come the pings for Baron. And this is exactly what they did. This is exactly what the red team wanted. They wanted to take away their enemy team smite. They wanted to catch Mad Thunder out of position or someone out of their position, and now they're going to make a play for Baron. The blue team is going to know this. They've ran through all these creeps. They're like, hey, holy crap, our smite is down. They're going to make a play for it. They can stop this. You've got Rumble's Equalizer. You've got Oriana who can do
you're basically
damage.
Bunched up for the AoE.
Baron is right now half health.
And a lot of ults are down for the red team.
And bam, there goes
the Equalizer, but it's not going to actually deal a lot of damage to the enemy team. But great Oriana ult actually right there. VM actually popping Flash after the fact, but Grifal just tearing people apart. But Tubby able to pick up the kill with Grifal in his face, and that's going to be a lot of trouble for red team. They should probably back out of this because Tubby should be able to maybe carry for them, but no. Intimate Bedtime coming in here, putting in enough damage and able to come out with it. Floof trying to put down as much damage as possible. Intimate Bedtime is actually out of mana. Is the only reason he's pretty much running right now for his life. They're just going to get a nice little axe right there from Gojo Pew Pew to back him off out of this. But, good, smart Baron play, realizing that the smite was down. And, the Rumble ult, the Equalizer, trying to steal the Baron, but it wasn't enough. It couldn't beat smite. And I feel like if you actually would have waited a little bit on it and placed it, maybe a little bit after the engagement, could have got a little bit more bang for buck of it. But still, not a bad ult, not a bad attempt for Blue to try to make something with the tools that they had there. They only actually gave up 2 kills in the process. Tubby was actually able to get a kill off on Grifal, so we got a little bit of that streak bonus. So pretty good fight right there. But red,
overall, what we right now, red team definitely had came out on top of that fight. They also have 4 members with Baron, but really all it did was it brought the game back to even. They did kill Grifal. Grifal had a massive kill streak bonus, was almost godlike. I think he was definitely unstoppable, and so they did expend a lot of resources. I think it was a 2-for-1 on Grifal, but they got the kill streak bonus. He doesn't have Baron. Right now, it's a dead even game. 300 gold. What's 300 gold at 32 minutes? I mean, it's nothing. Right now, they just got a turtle out Baron, and the chips. It's going to be really what comes down for the next Baron. As long as the blue team doesn't make any mistakes here under turret, or maybe the red team if they don't overcommit to play. Because right now, I mean, the mistakes that are likely to be made are the red team overcommitting under turret, or the blue team, maybe sticking around to a low health turret. But right now, they have the ability to clear waves, and they're doing so with Orianna.
Yeah,
it's a really close game.
Yeah, what we're definitely seeing here from red team is that they're possibly going to rotate down, maybe take some of the outer turrets that are a little easier to take. Like, they should be able to take this outer bottom turret without any opposition. Blue team's not going to be able to rotate to it, and that's for sure gold they can add to their bank, and maybe give them a little bit more of a lead. There's the one hit from Grifal, that's all it takes, and boom, that turret's down. Now they're going to try to push down this bottom turret, but like you said earlier, pushing power is a positive thing. Like, a definite key component that a lot of teams don't want to miss when they build their team comps is wave clears, and what we're seeing for blue team is they have the ability to clear waves and be able to protect it. Mad Thunder actually already at half health, getting Dove here, and tanked it. And Kenneth coming in from behind. They didn't expect that. A great little hourglass right there trying to protect him, but his team has left him alone. He's actually going to die here. I thought we might see a little bit more of engage there from the rest of the red team, but no. It looks like maybe a little bit of miscommunication. Kenneth going in there trying to make something happen, but it wasn't enough. Good job by Mad Thunder actually flashing, getting out of that. And focusing on the tank underneath the turret, not so necessarily the best target. If it was Tubby or even Rumble or someone that was maybe an easier target to pick off, I definitely would have been looking for that to be a good pick off there.
But shout out to Janosuke, because I think he played that correctly. I liked it. He had the hourglass. They had a chance to pick off Mad Thunder. So Mad Thunder, what happened was he got caught. He went to dredge line to his own turret, but the Janna tornado prevented him. It actually interrupted. It forced him to flash. And then with that flash down, Kingdom was like, I'm going. I'm all in. Let's do this. I got Zonias. Which could have overcommitted his team, but luckily, all he did was sacrifice Kennen. And
yeah, I mean, it was a thought out play. I mean, obviously with the hourglass, I mean, I do like that play from him. Grifal obviously is like, hey, by the way, you have to have more than one person in any lane to deal with me. BT dubs.
Exactly. For those watching or those following along with the Grifal KDA watch, 7-3-3, 260 CS. I'm gonna call it right now. I say he ends this game at 11-3-4, 11-3-6, and about 320 CS. That's my prediction. I'm cheating because I've watched this game for 35 minutes. But
you're like Captain Hindsight. I actually recently saw that recently. All right. Anyway, yeah. So Tubby's gonna pick himself up a red. It'll help him out a little bit in these fights. Help him kite a little bit as Graves. I'm definitely just interested to see what happens with this next Baron, because they are gonna clash over it. Baron buff has worn off for the red team. They've backed off. They've pushed as much as they can. They got an outer turret. They really didn't get too much deeper. I mean, this other turret taken down by Grifal earlier on the bottom lane. So I'm just seeing what red team decides to do. Maybe their grandmaster plan is, when these timers get longer, they can actually maybe win a team fight at Baron and push in there. Because as far as pushing goes, just straight on the enemy team, they don't have enough of an advantage to really dive in there, as we've seen. And it's the blue team's ability to deal with a dive under turret is ridiculous. So interesting what red team's plan is for attack is, to actually try to win this game out. Because Grifal's doing great, but what do the rest of the components of their team do to actually get them to kill the towers, get to the Nexus, and win the game?
So
which is how you win League of Legends.
Besides Grifal, what they want to do is they want to poke, if possible, and they want to force the blue team to engage on them. If that happens, the red team will come out on top. However, if the red team engages, they're at a major disadvantage because they're throwing away what their team composition is all about. Counter initiation. They're saying, we want the team to initiate on us. We're going to hard reset that fight once they've wasted resources. Whether it's Janna as a reset. Ooh, Grifal getting a little ballsy here.
The floof bait. Mad Thunder getting a little bit bold.
But once they get that hard reset, then they can then turn around and use Kennen to stun their other team, potentially get them low enough for Grifal just to come in there and clean up. That is kind of their plan. That's how they want the team fight to go. Meanwhile, on the blue team, they want to pick someone that they can kill. It's going to be hard to kill Grifal. He's got that GA. Janna, they have her reset. Kennen now has Zhonya's. Olaf has the ability to basically become immune to all CC. So it's going to be an interesting because what they can do, I think what they should try and focus on is try to fight. I don't know if they have the poke per se, other than Orianna, but they have the sustain through Soraka. So it's really interesting, and it's going to come down to how well they initiate with Mad Thunder, and whether or not if they could force Janna to blow her ult, and without committing a lot of resources, that would be their best case scenario.
Yeah, I feel like to me, it's all going to be about positioning. You can force Janna ult, but then the other problem for Janna becomes like that ult's like a 30-second cooldown. So like a couple seconds later, and it's back up. For me, it's just basically like, what team engages correctly. Because like you said, I feel like blue team, even though if they engage on red and they do it correctly, pick up the right people, but now we're going to have it go down. Ken's going to pop his ult. Great initiation on there, and blue team is in a lot of trouble. Red is engaged into them. They're pressing really, really hard, and they were able to pick up Tubby, and that's exactly what they wanted. Tubby getting picked off in that fight. That's a lot of the oomph of the blue team right there. And Grifal's not going to let Blix escape. And that might actually be the key moment of the game right there. Tubby falling really, really quickly, and that's what the red team was looking for. They were looking for, hey, we want Tubby. They were able to pick him off right away. Grifal going on with the CC, Kennen following right up, and blue had no response after that.
Yeah, they actually played that really well. It's kind of like a game of Aram, or if you guys have been playing a lot of the Proving Grounds, it's that back and forth, that ebb and flow. They pushed up to the turret, then they started to fall back, and then when the team became kind of stretched, think of it like a rubber band, that team became stretched, they weren't all clumped up, that's when they initiated, and they were able to pick Tubby off. That was their goal the whole time. They say, hey, we wait until there's an opportunity to take out so-and-so. In this case, it was Tubby. I think Orianna or even Rumble would have been the same. They say, hey, if we see an opportunity to take out one of their players, do it. Yeah, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I agree, except for like Tubby, like to me he's like El Presidente on the enemy team. Like you want to take him out above anybody else because as we saw at the Baron fight, I think kind of told us like he was the main person putting out damage. I feel like Orianna quite isn't there item wise, and Rumble as good as he is, like yeah, he's scary AoE damage, but I think red team can deal with those two. I think it's Tubby, is putting out sustained damage. If they don't get to him first, like through the course of a team fight, he's the one that'll make them lose the team fight. Unless they all just get caught in like a perfect little bunch and then all the AoE ults come in. But beyond that, like Tubby's like the guy that they definitely need to focus on, and they played it really well. They realized he was out of position. They initiated on him, picked him up. Now they have Baron buff for it, but again, the question becomes, how do they finish this off? How do they take down the turrets? What's their next play going to be? It looks like they might just try to pick up a dragon, get even more ahead. If we look at the gold still, they're only like 3k ahead. So like there's not even a big discrepancy in gold quite yet.
Yeah, in terms of gold, it's definitely a pretty fairly even game. The second Baron is going to hurt them a lot. It's going to allow them to split push right now because I think they realize, well, I think now that a lot of their builds have become complete, Aurelia's got GA, she's got Randuin's Omen. She's working on Maw of Malmortis. She's already got the Hex Drinker. Like, at this point,
yeah, this just in. Grifal almost has 16k in gold. The closest person to him is, Tubby on the enemy team at 14k, but everybody else is like 11k gold. Like, he's 4k in gold, pretty much ahead of everybody else in this game. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, this is exactly where the red team wants to be. They want to have Baron. They want to be able to poke, use Baron for that sustain, poke and push, poke and push on those turrets. If they can get a base turret down, they're going to force a fight on inhibitor at this point because they are ahead. They know that they're ahead, at least in terms of team comps. Now, I like that Tubby does have red buff. He does have GA. He's got his core build complete.
Oh, there's a Shredder's Rever. They actually spot 4v5. They're going to take it. Oriana's going to fall right away. They might be able to pick up Mad Thunder as well. Equalizer coming down. That's actually a really good equalizer because the red team does not care. They're diving in on this turret right now, and they actually probably take this turret if they want, which looks like what they are going to do. It's going to crack their first inhib, and that's definitely going to be, the leg of the table they need to take out, to start to tip it over and start to try to win this game.
Yeah, we're going to see the blue team's defenses kind of basically start to collapse. And I think that could have been a game-ending moment right here. They're not going. I don't think they can stop them from taking a second inhibitor. I mean, the power is in their ults and right now that synergy isn't there. The blue team has, in this situation they were able to catch XTY out of position. Before they were able to catch Tubby, not so much out of position, but through their ability to initiate. And in terms of execution, this whole game the red team was behind all the way up until that first Baron went down. Then it became even. It's been a close game, and I think right now that'll do it because these guys can back up. They can let those two inhibitors start to push. They can use the rest of Baron to get ahead by pushing that other outer turret and just start pushing on that bot lane. They can steal some buffs. They can wait for Baron to respawn. I mean, right now it would take a monumental screw up.
But it is possible.
For the red team to throw this away. Yeah, I mean, it's really that's the situation we're in.
Yeah, red team definitely in the driver's seat right now to win this game. And what we've seen from them as far as this is going along, great solid team fight and execution from the red team. One thing I was going to point out before that just happened, and part of why that happened too, is the warding has actually been kind of lax in this game, as well as oracles. I don't even remember if there's been an oracle in this game. Has there been an oracle? Because I can't even remember seeing one. Neither team had an oracle in that situation. Red team could have. Oh, now we see Mad Thunder with an oracle. He knows now. He knows his mistakes. But I mean, seriously, if you think about that situation, you're going through the enemy jungle. The other team's entering your enemy jungle. You can't see each other's teams. And the other enemy team has Baron. If I was blue team, I'd be nowhere in my jungle without an oracles or wards or something.
Yeah.
To let me know where the red team was.
They just didn't have the vision, and they made the mistake. And it's interesting that we see less wards in this situation. My advice and judgment is to buy more wards than you would normally buy. Everybody buy wards.
Yeah, see, we see the press from red going on here, and so what they're basically doing is they're stalling. They're going to keep pushing this wave, and even though blue can clear it, eventually the super minions from top and mid are going to push in, and someone's going to have to go deal with them. When someone goes and deals with them, then red, with their advantage and the turret, they don't really care about that point. They can possibly do an engage. They can push back blue team, get some damage on the turret, and that's what they're really looking for. As we see, Oriana's going to peel off here, and red's going to come in here and poke it a little bit. Great, actually, smoke screen by Tubby right there. Tubby's actually bought up a GA, so he's going to be a little bit more resilient now. And getting popped in these team fights, which is a good pickup for him.
Yeah, what the blue team is going to want to do is they're going to catch someone with dredge line. The problem is everybody on that team is someone you don't want to catch with dredge line. Except it's been better.
I think Oriana did pop her ult, didn't she? Yes. So she put the ult on Mad Thunder. Tried to do it, but Mad Thunder actually got popped back, so by the time Oriana ult came in, it wasn't good enough. But here we have the initiate on there. They decided to draw the line in the sand right here. Blue's actually going to pick up some key members. Kennen coming there is getting an hourglass, putting out a lot of damage. Grifal still trying to get there and get some damage. It's 4v2 right now. Blick's going to possibly fall to infinite bedtime. Shields up just the last second. Tubby is still up now, but now the red team, there's not enough clearing on the blue team. Their Nexus turrets are being bullied down. They've already lost the Nexus turret. They're going to lose the second one here because Tubby actually can't clear it. They're going to lose their third inhibitor, and this will probably be game for Team Grifal, picking off game number 1 of Judgment BC number 2, a.k.a. the Battle for Canada.
The Battle for Canada, what a great game here. Oh, Tubby doesn't want to let it go. He's got some dignity shots left in him.
He was like, I'll kill you again, man. I'll kill you again. And that's the definition, when people make the saying, I'm going to kill you, twice before your body hits the floor. That's kind of what that scenario is right there for Grifal.
Grifal 12-3-7. Oh, I think I said 320.
Yeah.
What? I was pretty close with my hindsight.
Captain